Hello, good morning. I hope that you're all well and you've had a good 2 weeks. It's been a fortnight since my last Flosstube and so much has happened in that fortnight. The trip to the States and Hobby House Needleworks, it was so much fun. It really was, but it was over so quickly. I think when you enjoy yourself, time does go quickly. In this Flosstube, I'm going to share my stash acquisitions. My case was very heavy coming home, so heavy I couldn't actually get it out of the car. I needed help to get it out of the car and I had to unpack it downstairs because we couldn't physically carry the case upstairs, but you know, that was a sign of a successful shopping trip. What have I got to talk about? Oh my God, so much. Let's talk about what I've got on the table and then I'll fill you in about the trip afterwards. When I got home, there was this book waiting for me. And you may not have seen this book, it's just been released. And it's called Objects de Folie, and it's a compendium of quilts, cross stitches and needlework by Susie Miller, and the photography and the book is by Oliver Miller. So the items within are from or by Susie Miller, and this book touched my heart. It really did. We all wonder what is going to happen to our needlework when we pass away, and if only we all had a son like Oliver. In the introduction, Oliver writes, "This book, Objects de Folie, came into being from a need to collate the many years of my mother's needlework. I have watched her sitting, huddled over pieces of fabric, making patterns, choosing colour schemes with keen fingers, a glinting needle afly, a thimble, thread and sharp scissors always close at hand. She had or has a knack for finding things, hunting, eagle-eyed for materials around markets, websites and op shops, fabric retailers and vintage fashion sellers. Early on, picking up fabrics in multicultural Sydney's outer suburbs, then later off to India, Thailand and China. These trips are always followed by endless cutting and sewing through the oftentimes extremes of heat and cold in the central tablelands of New South Wales here in Australia. There's a funny thing I observe about this kind of work. Despite the enormous amount of creative work that goes into it, when completed, it all just sits stacked in neat piles in the corner of a room, or if you're lucky, a cross stitch is framed or a quilt draped over a bed. The works therefore remain relatively unseen and have no unified context. Objects de Folie hopes to address this need. It's a compendium of stories and attachments to designs and fabrics that are now forever interwoven with the whirlwind of the ups and downs of my mother's day-to-day life. I think you will agree that in these images there is a humility and sublime tranquility, a mathematical order and beauty, all expressed through the eye of a consummate needleworker. What a wonderful tribute. Oliver has put together a book of his mother's needlework, and it is a beautiful book, and Susie Miller was obviously the most talented of needleworkers. This is all his mother's work. Quite amazing, really is. Her quilting, just, you gasp when you look at the pages of this book. Really superb, and I was very touched to see in this book that Susie stitched one of the Hands Across the Sea samplers designs, Sarah Dawes. And I thought it was rather fitting because this sampler, Sarah Dawes stitched in, I don't think it actually says the year, but it's to her ever honoured parents. And this is Oliver's tribute to his honoured parents, his mother. So beautiful. At the back of the book, every item of needlework is detailed. There's a list of works, and you can see that Susie was a very good customer of the Cruel Goblin in Sydney. And I'm not exactly sure where you can purchase this book, but if you are interested, I would suggest you contact the Cruel Goblin, or if you want to email me, I will link you up with Oliver. Beautiful book. If you're a quilter, you will get great inspiration out of the quilts that Susie made. Each page is like staggering the work that she has done. A truly, truly gifted quilter, cross-stitcher, needleworker. This is going to sit very proudly on my bookcase, and it's a lovely, lovely way of remembering Susie. If only we were all so lucky to have a son that would do this for our needlework. Very, very special. The other thing that came when I was away was my Whitney catalogue, Choice and Precious Works, Treasures from the Schoolroom. Beautiful book, and any book that Becky Scott issues is always a must-have for my bookshelf. The intro to the book is the majority of the pieces embroidery, needlework and wrought objects which form the subject of this catalogue descended through generations of one family. Those pieces were all found in a casket worked by Quaker schoolgirl Elizabeth Hall between 1681 and 1685, and together with items worked by other family members forms one of the largest groups of Quaker schoolgirl needlework to have yet been identified. This collection, together with other related examples of schoolgirl needlework, are brought together in this publication, the first of two, focusing on those stitched and decorated items produced in the schoolroom from between 1650 to around 1750. And this is another wonderful, wonderful book, a must-have for anybody who has an interest in needlework. And I had the most wonderful, wonderful surprise. Becky signed the book for me, but the surprise was that in the acknowledgements, Becky mentions me. I would like to thank Nicola Parkman for her technical advice on stitches. Thank you, Becky. That was a lovely surprise, and it was my pleasure to help where I could with regards to stitches. Thank you. This book can be purchased directly from Whitney Antiques. Whitney Antiques have just launched a new website, and you can order the book direct from Becky. If you live in the US, I know that Hobby House Needleworks has them, so does the Attic Needleworks, and I know that Janice at Traditional Stitches will be stocking this book as well. A joy for your needlework shelf. Okay, so those are the two things I had to come home to. But what did I buy when I was at Hobby House Needleworks? Well, I bought a Potoky modern mini. I have been so impressed with my floor stand. I could not resist. Now, it comes boxed, very well boxed actually, and you pull the inner box out. They're so well packaged. And there's your inner box. Betty, what are you doing? What are you doing? We will go for a walk. We will, but not just yet. Not just yet. If you want some food, go and ask Daddy. Go and ask Daddy. He's a funny little boy. So, when you open the inner box, you have this wonderful fleece lining which really protects the stand. I decided to go for the cream one this time, just to mix things up a little bit. There we have one. So this is your Potoky modern mini. To release it, you just move this lever, and then it opens up, and you put it into the position that you want, and when it's in the position that you want, you clamp the lever down. And the lever is easier to use. If you've got arthritic hands, it's easier than a knob, and then that's held very firmly in place, and then you just release this, and then you can pop your hoop in. You've got this little bit of wadding which you could place around your hoop to put it back in, but most of the people who are using this over the weekend just put their little bit of linen around the hoop, and that's how you work with it. When I travel, I use a hoop, but of course it means that you can only stitch using one hand. And because I'm a frame stitcher, my way of stitching is with two hands. So this enables me to stitch two-handed. And the one thing that really surprised me, and it wasn't just me, a lot of people who had these at the weekend were saying how stable this actually is on your lap. Linda had the modern lapstand, which she stitched with in the hotels, on the plane, but when she actually tried the mini, she couldn't resist going for this as well. So Linda actually has both. I only have the mini. It's wonderful. So pleased with it. And you know, everything with Potoky is so well made. They come in various different colours. You have the natural wood finish, you have that beautiful sort of farrow and ball soft green, there's the beautiful lemon, that is a ray of sunshine. I just decided to go for this colour because I just felt it was different to other things that I have. And Linda travels with hers in this bag, and it gives lots of protection whilst it's in your suitcase. This was maybe a little bit of an extravagant stash edition, but I know I'm going to get a lot of use out of this lapstand. So there we are. What else did I get? Well, I had pre-ordered the travel cases, and initially I saw the blue one go up for sale and ordered that, and then the red one came up for sale and I ordered that one as well. I love both of these colours. Like, I'm a red person and red is normally my first choice, but there's something about this blue one that's really lovely. Now these little handles, they pop up, but also they go back down completely flat. Now I've got the whole collection of these, the large, medium, and now the travel ones and the little cases. And I've actually got them stacked up in my bedroom on top of a chest of drawers, and I've got them sort of stacked on top of each other, going up in size, and they do stack beautifully. But that handle does open for carrying. This is a great travel size. This fitted in my tote bag that I travel with. Now, I haven't dressed the boxes. This is a treat I've got to look forward to this week. I'm going to get a pair of charms to hang off both the zippers. I'm just trying to decide which ones. Minnie McBean's always has beautiful ones, and Kathy at Hobby House Needleworks is offering customised ones with your initials, and that's a great idea because when you are at a retreat, so many of us have the same things, and it's very easy to pick up a case thinking it's yours and it's not. So having something that identifies your case on a table is very important. Now, the French Navy has this glorious, oh, I wondered where I put those. That was what I just tucked in there for safety while I was travelling back. This one has this beautiful lining, it's gorgeous. And then it has the lift out tray. Oh, that's where I put all my scissors for travelling. when we were packing up to come back, it was all a bit of a hurry. At least I know where my scissors are now. I had a lot of spools with me on my display table, so I took my scissor collection to put in the spools. Now, the wonderful thing about this case is it's been specifically designed for the needleworker. So your spools fit in here, which is really lovely. The other thing you can do, you can actually put your lid inside the top if you've got something a little bit bulky to sit in your box on an occasion. But this tray is wonderful because you can have your 4-inch hoop in here, your scissors and spools, and you can just take it out and use it as a work tray at the event. But the other thing with this case is it has this little pocket that you can fill with things, and you can also decorate this pocket with magnetic needle minders and fripperies, and I'm really looking forward to decorating and accessorising my case. I love lifting the lid of the case, and it reflects who you are. Looking forward to that. Now, one thing I found, I normally travel with a 4-inch hoop because that fits nicely in the palm of my hand while I'm stitching on the plane. But sometimes it's really nice to have a larger hoop. And this hoop actually fits in the inside lid, which enables you to travel with a bigger hoop as well. I thought that was definitely an added bonus with this case. This week ahead now, I'm looking forward to decorating both the cases. I've got to choose my needle minders and fripperies very, very carefully, and once I've done that, I will show you the cases decorated. Cases are very personal things, great fun. The red case is so beautiful as well, and it's got this beautiful shocking pink lining. Lovely to have clashing colours. There we go, look at that, isn't that beautiful? Absolutely gorgeous. Love things like this. It's funny, a lot of us have bought jewellery cases and adapted them as needlework cases. I actually brought one of these back for my friend who's actually going to use the needlework case as a jewellery case for the drawer of her bedside cabinet. See, we're all different. The other thing I bought at Hobby House was some linen. It's always so lovely to see linen in person, to feel it and to look at the colour. So I'm afraid I did get quite carried away with linen, and I'm going to share them with you. This is an old favourite. It's Tin Roof, but from Weeks Dye Works. Beautiful colour, great for reproduction samplers. Beautiful sort of colour that's got age to it without it being grungy. Then, I had great fun with Seraphim linen. Now this is the first time that I've bought Seraphim linen, and it's gorgeous, really, really beautiful. This one is silver lining, and it's a gorgeous colour. There we go. It's got some grunge into it. A little bit of veining, which is always nice to have. Don't know what the colours are showing up like in this light. It's a miserable day. Yesterday, I got up first thing in the morning. I took the dogs out for a nice long walk, and it was dry and it was really nice. And then the rain came down, and it rained and rained and rained. It's still raining. This is a lovely one. In fact, it was so nice I bought a yard. It's the Seraphim Tobias linen. Isn't that beautiful? Again, a really, really super colour for antique samplers. With grungy linen, sometimes you have to place your pattern very carefully on the linen. As you can see, this has got some streaks coming across. So you have to think about where you're going to put your samplers on this type of linen, if you want this in it or if you want to sort of stitch around it. Glorious. The next one I've got is old stationery. Here we go. So you would decide whether you wanted to use this sort of area or stay to a slightly cleaner area or place a design over some of the grunginess. Grungy linen isn't for everybody. It can add a great deal of soul and depth to your sampler. When you look at Martha Walmsley, Martha has some grunging to her linen, which sort of gives it, as I said, age, soul. But you have to choose it carefully where you're going to place your stitching. What's this one? Oh, this is bramble linen. I like this so much, I bought 2 pieces. Here we go. Now, that's quite bold grunging on this one. You really do have to decide what you want to place and where you want to place it. I think if I use this darker area, I will probably place a design on this so the grunginess is the main colour and stitching on top of that. I wouldn't just have that in part of the sampler. This again is the bramble linen. And I picked this piece up because I thought that this area would be really lovely to stitch on, and then I could get another sampler out of this side where it almost became a different piece of linen with a different colour. But I do plan to focus on this area as well. This is lovely, Dusty Road. I might have bought 2 pieces of this as well. There we go. Winter White. That's a nice piece of linen. There's warmth to it, but it's a nice sort of light colour, a clean colour, but there's still sort of age to it. You have to choose your linen carefully for the project. You don't want your linen to be the foreground. The linen should be the background that showcases your design, pushes the design forward. What's this one? Antique lace. Now, I've seen a lot of people using this to great effect. It's a beautiful, beautiful over-dyed piece of linen. That's lovely. And in fact, I have a sampler in mind for that. And this is Weeks Dye Work. This is an old favourite of mine, Platinum. Beautiful colour. And a fabulous one for stitching reproduction samplers on. So I was very, very pleased with those purchases. You can never have enough linen, and it doesn't matter how many pieces of linen you've got. When you go to start a project, you've never got the right colour in the right count and the right size for a project. That's just the way it goes. I brought back some threads for a friend who's stitching Martha. I've got to package these up and get them on to her. That is Martha's colour palette in the 103. Aren't those colours beautiful? Really, really gorgeous. If these were mine, I would take them out and show them out of the packaging, but I don't want to do that because they were a friend's colours, and I want her to receive them as they're presented by Hobby House. I was given so many presents. Honestly, it was embarrassing, the amount of presents that I came home with. Everybody was so kind. But I wanted to show you this one present because this was made from the fabric we have for Alice Tippett. And it's been fussy cut so that we have Sweet Home and Alice's name and her house in the centre of it. This was made by Kathy, who's a very talented needleworker and an amazing finisher. So that's very, very sweet. And I'm going to have that by my stitching chair and use that as my pin cushion. Isn't that beautiful? Okay, so cards. I'm going to read 2 cards to you this week, and this is really nice. There was a card from the needleworker for me, and then there was a letter to be read. Dear Nicola, happy belated birthday, and thank you so much for sharing your travels through Europe with so many of us. I love everything you've created for the box. I love the idea of a virtual trip through Europe aligned with cross-stitch projects. When we travel, I always try, not always successfully, to find a chart specific to that location. That is not always easy, but you have done this for us and potentially provided us with the travel agent expertise of planning a tour route. I returned to serious cross-stitching in the last few years after more than 30 years of stitching small pieces, mostly for Christmas. My grandmother taught me how to knit. My mother taught me how to crochet, but my husband's mom taught me to cross-stitch more than 40 years ago. She and I bonded over our mutual love of anything handmade. She had 4 sons and was overjoyed to share her cross-stitching craft with me. It was special for us to have that shared joy. At the beginning of my cross-stitching career, I enjoyed larger projects and challenged myself with specialty stitches, hardanger and pull thread techniques. As demands on my time grew, I had to fit in my stitching when I could, and the projects became smaller and easier to finish in a short period of time. Many of those were on family vacations. I chose this card because the lighthouse in the photo is Nasset Light, which brings back vacation memories of my family on the beach just below the cliff where Nasset Light patrols the ocean off Cape Cod. I always have a cross-stitch project with me when we travelled. We have a vacation packing list with the typical camera, binoculars, beach gear, etc. listed, but there is also a cross-stitch project on the list as well. My husband has always checked to make sure I have my cross-stitch packed. This connection of cross-stitch to travel is why I was so drawn to travels through Europe. Vacation memories and stitching memories intermingle for me. I have more time for stitching now that we are empty nesters and overall have less demands on our time. The projects are getting larger and I'm challenging myself to stitch on higher, 46, and I can't believe I'm saying 56 count linen. It's a shame that my best vision years were also the times that I had the least time for stitching. I will be packing kitted travels through Europe projects with some planned trips, including one to Europe. My travel stitching projects will always be special to me, and I'm so glad to be able to include travels through Europe in these memories. That's so lovely, really, really lovely. Thank you for sending the beautiful card, the message in the card itself, and your letter, and the little gifts inside. That was very kind and thoughtful of you. The next card is, Dearest Nicola, happy 60th birthday to you and to all of us as well, as you have given us all such an amazing treat to celebrate your special year with us. Receiving and opening the red box had as much anticipation as excitement as Christmas morning. So many special goodies, each one a wonder, and then wait, there is more, yet another and another. I don't know how you fit so much in that red box. As someone who loves to travel, I'm excited to embark to these places, and it is special to know there are 600 of us taking the same journey. It has been fun to plan which place I will go to first, and while there are some places I have been to in real life. It will be fun to revisit them through the red box samplers. And now that I have learned more about the other locations as well, my travel bucket list has gotten longer. It is wonderful to set sail and journey with you and your passion for needlework. It's certainly infectious in the best possible way. You have surely given me a treasure to keep me busy with my needle for a long, long while. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Lots of love. And this one's from a very, very special friend who's very close to my heart. Talking of travel, New York was, the whole experience was wonderful. I drove up on the Monday, met Linda at the hotel. Linda's always at the hotel first, and she's all organised. And we have a habit of, or a routine. We always do the same thing. We both order the same meal. Linda likes shepherd's pie, and I like a mild chicken curry. Then we have an early night. We put the alarm on in the morning, but we always tend to get up early. Then we toddle through to the airport, settle and have breakfast, and then we stitch. We were very lucky. Linda has wheelchair assistance. When we got to the gate, we went straight through, got onto the plane, settled down, started stitching. Now, when we were flying over to New York, Storm Syrian was coming towards us to the UK. Our house here actually had winds hit it over 100 miles an hour. Of course, we were flying into that storm and we had a lot of turbulence. It was an experience, and it took a long while before the hostesses were able to clear our trays. We had food bouncing up and down for a long time, and to be quite honest, the turbulence took away our appetite. We got to New York, and so that was the Tuesday we flew. On the Wednesday we travelled up to Rochester. Beautiful journey. It's fun driving through New York, seeing some New York City sights, and then when you hit the freeway, beautiful scenery on the way up. It was wonderful to get into the hotel where friends had already checked in that day and were waiting for us. We had some wonderful meals and stitching times together before the event started. We had so many laughs, and it was really funny. On Thursday morning, we all rushed off to the store to do our shopping, and then as we all drifted back to the hotel, we started in the big foyer with one table. And I think by the time we'd finished gathering, we had put every table and every chair that was available and formed this really big, long stitching table. It's needleworkers getting together, and the chitter-chatter, because we were all so excited to see each other and catching up and sharing things. It was wonderful. Friday, some ladies who couldn't get into the workshop came and visited me, and we sat and chat, had coffee, and we stitched, and that was really nice to get to know some new people. Hopefully they will be able to get into future events at Hobby House Needleworks. And then Friday afternoon the event started, and we had a wonderful time. It really was very, very nice, and it was very rewarding for me to see people's joy and excitement at the workshop, and a lot of people went home with the finished special project, which was a wooden scissor spool that had been turned specifically for that event. And on the Friday evening we stitched a ribbon band to go around the spool, and the finish of attaching the band to the spool was a no-sew finish. I know that there's a lot of needleworkers who aren't sewers and therefore sort of don't do their own finishing, but this one was so easy. It involved an iron and some rivet caps, and it didn't take long to actually attach it to the spool, and it was really nice to see people going home with finished projects. On the Saturday we concentrated on the Scottish sampler Amelia Brown, stitched in Glam School in Scotland, and we learnt about Scotland, about glams itself and why Amelia probably included needle weaving on her sampler. And there were lots of different stitches in that sampler, and we went through them all, finishing up with the needle weaving. And what was really lovely was to see people's faces when they realised that they could needle weave, and it was very simple and very quick and very effective. So that was very rewarding for me to see people mastering those stitches and going away knowing that they could complete Amelia's sampler. On Sunday morning, Claudia Dutcher-Kitzler presented a gorgeous sampler from New Jersey, which was so nice because obviously with New Jersey being so close to New York State. And then on the Sunday afternoon, we all went back to the store and did some more shopping. And then the stitch room was actually open till midnight on Sunday, so a lot of us went back into the stitch room and stitched and chatted and laughed, and it was just so lovely. I went home with some new friends, which was lovely, really, really nice. On the Monday, we travelled back to New York, where we met Krista and Beth, and then on the Tuesday, Tanya had joined us and we had great fun. We went to the Cooper Hewitt and saw a very, very interesting exhibition, but the Cooper Hewitt was worthwhile visiting just to appreciate the architecture of the building. It was Andrew Carnegie's mansion, and it was very, very interesting. The interior architectural work in that property was, you know, I could have spent all day looking at it. Very, very good. When we came out of the museum, we walked along what they called Museum Mile. We saw Jackie and Nessa's apartment, and then we went into Central Park where we sat and we people watched for a little while. That was great fun. And of course, when we were in New York, we ate a lot. We ate far, far too much. I flew back, Linda and I flew back on the Tuesday evening, getting into London Wednesday morning, and then Linda's son picked her up, and I went into town and met the Contented Stitcher, and we had lunch and we chatted and chatted. That was really nice. And I got back to my hotel and flopped, and then drove back to Cornwall on the Thursday. So that's my 2 weeks in a nutshell. I don't want the video to go on too long, so I'm going to wrap it up now. Next week I'll show you what I've been stitching. Yes, I have been stitching, and I hope that by next week I might be sort of getting close to a finish on that project. Stay well, stay safe. Oh, and before I go, thank you for every single person who came to that workshop. You made it so special for me, and thank you to everybody who gave me gifts. The gifts were amazing, and I'm very, very grateful, and each and every one of them will be treasured and displayed and used, and the chocolates eaten. We've done very well on eating the chocolates already. Stay well, stay safe. Bye-bye.